Hi there. Welcome back to Change Coach Conversation number 6, keeping yourself out of the coaching conversation. Coaching has nothing to do with you. In an ideal scenario, your thoughts, your preferences, your mood, your emotions, your expectations, all of that stuff that's showing up here that feels like you, that's within you, doesn't come to your session. That stuff is left at the door and there's really no place for it in a coaching conversation. This includes, again, like I said, your preferences and your mood and all the stuff you might have going on, but it also very importantly includes your thoughts about your client, your opinions of your client, your expectations about what they're going to want to talk about, your judgments of them, all of that stuff. It's going to arise. You're human, it's going to show up. But the more we can see that there is no place for that in an actual coaching conversation, the better. The more we know that all of that just gets in the way. It's okay. You don't have to be hard on yourself about it. You're not doing it. It's just showing up. But it's not helpful at all. It takes you away from the conversation. As you know that, it starts to get easier and easier to just let it stay off to the side. So when you're with a client, when you're in this exploration, it is a sacred space. You are falling into this space beyond all of that, beyond you, beyond them, beyond moods and preferences and judgments and expectations. And in that space, when you're in that space, especially when you're feeling that, you get to actually listen. Like you get to really, really listen and not just listen to their words. We can all listen to someone's words. It doesn't take much effort to do that. What we're listening for when we're coaching someone is what's behind their words. You're feeling. It's not even listening is almost sounds a little too cognitive, it's you're feeling them. Feeling them. You're feeling what's behind what they're saying, what's behind their worries and their concerns and how things look to them. You're also able to listen or feel hunches and your own insights and your own intuition talk to you. If your mind is cluttered with how's it going? Where are we getting anywhere? I didn't think they were going to say that. Oh my gosh, I can't believe she thinks this way. If your mind is cluttered with any of that, you are not going to be able to be open and receptive to wisdom as it shows up. And that is truly what does the work in these sessions. So in the Change Coach training, we talk a ton about this, a ton, and we call it showing up dumb or being dumb. When you're with a client, you want to be as dumb as possible. And again, by that, I just mean you're not showing up with all these memories and expectations and thoughts. And as they show up, they just, you see them for what they are and they just fall right to the wayside. And you're back here dumb, curious, exploring with your client and finding out, listening and really hearing what's there for them and what this bigger space beyond all of this psychology is showing both of you, how it's guiding you in this session. So out of my own insecurity, I used to show up very not dumb. I showed up very smart in the early years of my coaching. So, I'm talking in the first year or two, I'd have a client reach out and I'd want to know, I did a whole intake form back then. Now I don't want an intake form at all. That would make me too smart. I want to be dumb. I don't need to know all the background because that would just clutter my mind, right? So back then though, I wanted to know all the details. What's going on? What are we going to talk about? And if they had a relationship issue, for example, I would read books on that. It's crazy to admit, but it's like, okay, I would book them out a week from now and I would do research and I would say, oh, this is what they're up against. Let me look into that. Now, that was very well-meaning. It was me truly just wanting so much to help them, but it was coming from my own insecurity and it was cluttering my mind. So I would show up to that session not at all dumb, thinking, okay, if they say this, I'll say that. If this comes up, I know what to do about that. And I couldn't listen. I couldn't listen to them. I couldn't listen to bigger hunches and nudges and intuition that showed up in the moment because I had it all figured out, and when we don't show up dumb, when we show up smart, we show up with all this on our mind, it's kind of like the best we can do is give knowledge or advice. And Knowledge and advice just aren't that valuable. They're for a change coach, they're not at all good enough. That's not at all what we're up to. You can get knowledge and advice from Google. You don't need an expert who's trained in this to support you and go much deeper for knowledge and advice. But see how when we're smart, when we're not dumb, all we have is knowledge and advice. When we're dumb, we're tapping into the entire intelligence of the universe. We're hearing in real time what's behind it for them, and we're having our own new thoughts. And I mean, it just is completely night and day different. Another thing about you not showing up in the session is I'm often asked by new coaches, like, how do you coach when you're in a horrible mood? Or something, your pipes just burst and now you have a session, and I've been there. The dog's barking, the baby's sick, whatever, but you have a session at 2:00. Like, how do you do that? And it's so funny and so kind of not what we'd expect. But when you're in a not great place and you know how to be dumb, coaching is the best thing in the world, because all of these problems and all the issues and all this me thinking, you get really good at that, falls away. So that's what creates our problems always. Any suffering is attachment to that thinking. So if you have a session right now and you're here with another human being, all of that stuff just falls away. It's like the world crumbles behind you and you're here with this person, and it feels amazing. It's amazing. Your problems don't exist and you're in this space with them exploring. So it's really funny. I mean, going into it, you might think, I don't know if I can do this, because your mind is racing. You get into it, you fall away, you're not there anymore, and you feel incredible. And then you get off the call and your stuff comes back, but that's okay. But we can do this. We can do this no matter what. And it's because you don't come to the session if you can help it. So I hope this has been helpful. Let me know what you want to hear about. I'd love to hear your comments too on what you hear in this, what's new for you as you listen to these Change Coach conversations. And I'll be back next week with another one.